So the current sweater I'm knitting has a few rows at the very end that have extremely long floats. You'd be carrying over at least 8 stitches. And I learned a really interesting way of avoiding that when I was knitting Threipmuir by Ysolda, of which I've only completed the yoke still. And it involves slip stitching and then decreasing out when you're done. So what you do is you knit to the section where you would need to catch your float. But instead of catching your float, so right here, what you do is you bring your main color to the front and you backwards loop cast on with the carrying color, move the yarn back, and continue on. When you get to that stitch again, if you need to keep carrying the color across because you would want this all to be gray here, what you do is you pull both yarns to the front, you purl with your contrast color, the color that is being carried instead of being knitted with, pull them both to the back and continue on. Once you no longer need to carry that colored yarn up because you will be having a stitch in its place or you've finished your color work section, you knit to the correct spot and then you knit 2 together. Normally, if I were at the end of the color work, I would be knitting these 2 together here with the gray, but I actually need a colored stitch here, and I'm not going to need to carry along a long float here anymore. So I'm going to knit 2 together, and you can see that that stitch disappears in behind, and when you look at the back, you can see there's a ladder where the float has been caught. And what that means is that you won't be catching your fingers in the holes. You also won't have a problem with your tension coming out wonky and losing the definition of your stitches. Hope that helps somebody.